have for quite a while lived in a world where the media especially talks about our divisiveness as far as kind of shines a light on the fact that there's so many things where we're different or where we're disagree about things, whether it's political views, if it's gun control or climate change, and often highlights things, and I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that, of course, in the next year with the election, where they show all the things that we do wrong, or the ways that we are not doing things correctly or could be doing things better. And so in this kind of culture of being bombarded with things that's very divisive, I always get very encouraged and excited when I find something that is the opposite of that, where it's bringing people together and building community. And of course, we know that those types of things are out there everywhere, and people are doing this every day. But sometimes I think it's easy to forget. It's easy for me to forget, and it's easy to overlook these small programs that are kind of building up and kind of creating this quiet underlying positiveness that we don't always see. And I ran across one of these programs, and I wanted to share it with you. I always get very excited about this, and I tell everybody. So you guys are my guinea pigs today. I'm telling all of you. So I found a place called Thelma's Kitchen, and it's a gathering place, and it's been around almost 2 years now. It started at the beginning of 2018. How many of you have heard of Thelma's Place? Okay, a few of you. And Thelma's Place is a restaurant, a cafe, actually, they call it, and they serve delicious food. I mean, fresh, homemade, local food that is beautiful. It gives you a couple choices as far as soups. It gives you a couple beautiful choices for salad, like some of the most beautiful salads that I've seen. I've been there about 4 times in the last 60 days, and once I find a place, I'm like, oh, I gotta go back. And they have the most delicious desserts. They must be homemade. They are fantastic. The food looks great, tastes great. In addition to that, it's a gathering place. They create this place so that you can sit individually if you want. You sit into groups, but then they also have these big gathering tables that are made out of a tree. You've seen those where they took a tree out of the community or had come down, and they make it into a table, so you can tell that the tree had been around for a few hundred years. It's like this wide. And so they have these places where you can sit and talk to each other and hopefully create kind of this community. The unique thing about Thelma's Kitchen, well, first of all, before I say that, this is Thelma, and the restaurant was named after Thelma, and she was a person who gave back to her community, who didn't have a lot, but somehow created and took what she had and multiplied it and gave to people food, gave people a place to stay, gave people places to clothing, that type of thing. So the restaurant is named after Thelma, and I think one of the people that are there is her granddaughter, but she's a pretty big presence in the community. One of the unique things about Thelma's is it's a pay-what-you-can cafe. And with this, what they suggest is that when you go to pay, it's kind of a little buffet. You choose what you want to eat. There's a larger plate or a smaller plate. And when you go to pay, they say, how much would you like to donate? So you can give the suggested amount. So the larger plate's $10 and the smaller plate's $7. And you can pay what you want to donate, and you can pay a little extra if you want and pay it forward. Or you can donate less than that. If you only have $5, you can pay $5. If you have less than $2, then they ask you to volunteer for a half hour. So you volunteer, and then you get your meal for free. It's only a lunch thing. It's from 11 to 2 every day. And the times that I've been in there, I've just kind of observing and watching, and one of the times I saw, well, 2 of the times I was in there was a young man, and he's wiping tables, cleaning up plates, and then he sits down and he has his lunch. So he worked his 30 minutes and got his lunch for free. Another time I saw a couple young girls that were in there doing the same thing. I sat at the community table with my friend, and we discussed, talked with a woman that was 75, working 3 jobs, and just, getting things done. and another gentleman that didn't say much, but you know, we were all sitting there together. So definitely providing community, and it's a cafe that's trying to break down those barriers between race and economic level, as well as, you know, geographic type things. So in the first year, this is a little hard to read because I took a picture of it, but in the first year, they served over 23,000 lunches. They serve about 500 lunches a week, and 21 people volunteer every day to make this happen. And they raised a little over about $128,000 in their first year in 2018. This concept of these cafes, pay what you want cafes, is not brand new. It started in 2004 in Ohio, and there's about 60 of them throughout the United States. There's also one in St. Louis, there's one in Omaha, there's one in Iowa. But I love this, it's called One World, Everybody Eats. And in these cafes, they're created for spaces where people are nourished in their body and the soul. People come together, eat in dignity, and form strong bonds that foster interconnected communities, which I just thought that was an amazing concept that they've created. And it's spreading, so they now have an annual summit where they have these community cafes where everybody comes together and shares ideas on how they can make it better, how they can include more people. And they also started a national Everybody Eats Week. And I think this year was the first year they had it, which is awesome. You know, there's like Gumball Day and stupid stuff like that. So it's nice to have something, and I think Everybody Eats deserves a week, right? Not more than a day. There wasn't a lot of activity on that Facebook page, so I think it's probably just kind of starting and coming together. One of the other awesome things, and I don't know if they all do this, but Thelma's has these tokens, and this kind of goes along with the pay it forward concept. And you can buy the tokens for $10 and then give them to people or use them yourself, I guess, later. But it offers anybody an opportunity to come and use that token for lunch, for a free lunch. I handed one of mine out just at somebody that would look like, you know, they were wanting something, wanting food, needing some things, and he was like, oh, wow, that's cool. So I would like to also pay it forward, and if anybody is interested in joining me on Friday, October 18th, that's not a meeting day, we can go down and we can join the community from 11:30, meet here, and it'll probably, we leave here at 11:30 and probably be back by 1 o'clock if anybody's interested in coming and joining me for that. So, thank you very much.
Please make a note.